There are a ton of awesome early Confederation strategies out there, but a lot of them come at the cost of gimping your progress, at the cost of getting those lords. But I'm really excited to share with you guys today a guide which will give you Imrik within the first 10 turns guaranteed, as well as all 6 High Elf Lords before turn 30. Welcome to Elven Plot Armor, and this is part 1 of the 30 turn guide to get all 6 Legendary Lords, starting with part 1, the first 10 turns to obtain Imrik. Nothing special about this run and no cheese needed, so if you do want a cheese, you absolutely can make this even stronger. As you can see here, we have the Titan Peaks controlled, there's the last holdout there, and Avalorn's close to finishing her. We have Tyrion ready to venture south and expand that way, and we have Elithanar ready to continue the expansion. We've most recently managed to obtain Teclis, and in the recruitment pool we just had to save for supply lines, but we do have Imrik and Eltharion ready to recruit when we choose. Now before we jump straight in, just to give some context as to what we're doing here, on the right hand side here we are going to have Saffari, and you are not going to engage in any treaties with them whatsoever. The reason being is we will declare war on them later, we need their golden resources. Also, it will put us in favourable terms with Eltharion of Rebres. On the left hand side, Illyrian, you can obviously make trade agreements and non-aggression pacts, even military access, but do not make any alliances. The reason being is that they will come in contact with the Cult of Pleasure, and you want to stay out of this war for as long as possible. You will get there, but you want to have Elithanar around the time that you expand into there. So kicking off with turn 1, we're going to embed our noble, and we're going to put him in Tyrion's army, move him up towards the Tower of Lysine, and we're going to put him in camp stance, as well as recruit 3 regular archers, just for the purpose of doing this. In case they do decide to attack us, we're in a good position to push them back. We're going to level up Lothern, and we're going to destroy the barracks because we have better use for that slot. Research, we are going to go straight for archery prowess for now, and eventually spear wall and militia training. Finally, diplomacy, we will be trading with Tyrannoc first, and that should possibly open up new trade partners. We have Avalorn, but we are unlikely to be able to do anything with her just yet. Always worth a try. More importantly, Calador. First, see if you can get the non-aggression. If that doesn't work, offer payments. 1, 2. It's always better to do multiple small gifts than large gifts. And then 3. And that should pretty much leave us bankrupt. And turn. Alright, turn 2, so we're going to use Tyrion to attack the Tower of Lysine. The reason being, we're going to use this gold to donate to Calador to speed up that Confederation. We will certainly have to fight this on the battlefield. So to defeat this battle, you'll want to set up like this. Don't corner camp. Corner camping is very overrated. Instead, set up on the front lines. Arrange your archers like this with enough distance, and then you're going to want to quick number them. So I've quick numbered them 3, my noble number 2, and Big Daddy Tyrion number 1. On the flanks, we're going to keep our spearmen and White Lance of Crace, and far on the wings we are going to have both of our cavalry units. As the battle starts, we're going to try to move our cavalry out to the side. The point that we're going to try and make here is to try and push into their archers and disrupt them from shooting. So hold Alt and Control to make sure your formation is set up and facing them ideally, and keep an eye on your cavalry units. So see, we just want to be pushing our cavalry into their flanks like that, and use our line holding units now to group them up. So this is great, this is exactly what we want. You'll want to keep these cavalry units alive. I know they're not the most attractive of units, but they will drastically increase your balance of power and make you more attractive for confederations. Just holding shift to put some waypoints there so he can basically outrange these archers and just keep them away from our main forces. So close victory, that'll do. We're going to be following this technique where we sack the first turn and then we occupy it the subsequent turn. Now, a lot of people don't realise that heroes are allowed to join and leave an army once per turn and still perform an action. So in this case, we've just attacked with this noble. We can now send him out to try and secure influence. How'd we go? Excellent, awesome. Now we want to retreat back to the border. We'll be replenishing, and we're going to hire another 3 archers. We should now be able to engage with Calador and get both a trade and non-aggression pact. It's going to boost us up a fair bit. Using the funds that we obtained, we can now donate to Calador 1, 2, and 5. Leave us enough money to build a growth building down here. We could go for some more gold, and if you're not comfortable you can go for that, but I've found that you don't even need public order in these early stages for Lothern, so yeah, just go straight for growth. End turn. Alright, so turn 3, we're going to want to move Tyrion up, and we're going to attack this building again. We do want to do this manually just to try and avoid losses, and if we do this correctly we'll end up better off than the way we were when we started the battle. Use pretty much the same formation. Again, look at my legendary formation guide to see this formation and why it works and how it works, and yeah, you should have no trouble with this. You can literally just stand there, and this time we will be capturing.
This place is ours.
With Tyrion, keep on going down wary until you get Draftmaster, then Lightning Strike. After there it's up to you. I personally prefer just to get Quartermaster for some extra cost reduction so I can get to Renown and Feared for extra campaign movement and an even cheaper army. From there, I've got a Tyrion guide coming out next. Yeah, you want Majesty of Ulthuan. Okay, so let's see, Calador. Military access and defensive alliance. Can we get 300 bucks for that?
Very well.
Cool. And there we go, we can confederate, and we can probably try to squeeze back somewhere between 500 and 1,000 gold. 750 gold on the dot. Now, most importantly, this gives you oversight to the Knights of Calador. This is a great chance to also see how Imrik himself is doing. So, he's only at war with Dowie. That's excellent. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to offer to join his war. That's going to give us a bit of benefit there. Also, you can now 1, 2, 3, 4 gifts. I tried to go 5, and some rounds I've been able to go 6, but this initial meeting is where you want to try and pump the most you can into him. Now this is also a great opportunity if you have influence. We won't have enough yet, but as soon as we do, we want to throw that onto Imrik as well, because he's a little bit stubborn. So what we're going to do is sometimes this guy will be somewhere else. If that's the case, just disband him. In this case here, we're just going to run him down to Lothern. So Tyrion's got 14 units here. So what we'd like is we need 6 units that we're going to keep from and get rid of these guys. So there we go, we have 6 units, and that will be able to complete Tyrion's army when he swings past the next turn. Commandments, growth, of course. Scrap your barracks for a resource, and that is done. End turn. Alright, so start of turn 4. So we're going to move Tyrion down so he can reach up to Arugariel for next turn. Join the armies. Lothern will be at tier 2, which means we can get ourselves an entertainment building for public order, as well as an Elvet trinket maker for some income. We can start to improve things with Avalorn by simply offering to go to war with the Scourge of Cain, who we're not going to fight anyway, but we can get ourselves some juicy agreements with her. Awesome. We've gone from swinging the negative to swinging to the positive, so that is awesome news. For Imrik, we are going to throw gifts his way as much as we can at this point, so it's going to be cheaper to do it now than if he does decide to grow and become more powerful, so we want these gifts while they're cheap, so we want 1 and 4.
Behold,
Since Calador will be relatively hard to defend, I would probably opt for just the homestead to increase the growth to hopefully get that capital up to tier 3. Around this time, or really any time for that matter, take a look at your influence, and as soon as you can, throw some to Imrik or whichever lord you're trying to get. The sooner the better, of course. This will get things moving along nicely, and hopefully we get that defensive alliance, which will get us virtually there to a confederation. We now begin turn 5 with a full stack for Tyrion, so we are going to go straight for Arugariel. And this will be the most difficult fight that you have to do on the campaign map. Okay, so we're set up here for battle. I've got the usual 2 firing blocks here, hotkey 3 and 4. We have the back line here. I've got a set of Valyrian Reavers we picked up from that Confederation of Calador. Normally I wouldn't have these, I would have another lot of archers there, but I've thrown it there because I wanted to have a laugh. Deployed over this way here, and we're going to use these two cavalry units, quite key, in disrupting their formation and disrupting their archers. So first thing, advance slightly and tilt your formation so you're going to get the most saturation with your arrows. And we want to focus down the missile units first, because that's what's going to hurt us the most. And we're going to prioritize the ones which don't have shields, because they're obviously going to soak up a bit of our ammo. Now we're going to move these guys up, holding the right button to fan them out. See, now we've spread them out though, we can use the superior speed of our cavalry to come and support, get a couple of cheeky rear charges in. There we have it, close victory. I'll certainly take that. And we managed to kill their general for a bit of extra gold, so overall, good outcome. As usual, we're going to sack it the first time for experience. And again, we're going to use our noble to go grab some influence. Awesome, he's on a roll. Good stuff. Lastly, we're just going to go to the diplomacy screen. We can see that Avalorn is now tracking to the positive, which is awesome. And we're just going to visit Imrik, and we're going to butter him up one more time with 1. Should we'll go 6, bugger it, we'll go. And that's the end of the turn. Turn 6 is very short. It's a simple case of re-embedding your noble, attacking and this time occupying the settlement, and then going to diplomacy to finally sign the non-aggression and military access pact with Imrik. End turn. Turn number 7 presents another one of the more difficult battles that you'll face. It's pretty much the same idea of using 2 hollowed squares with cavalry on the flanks, but a lot more can go wrong because they have more mobile units. Just make sure you keep those spears on your flanks ready to fall back to intercept their cavalry, and do your best to maintain distance. And we have successfully taken it, sacking it the first time for the experience.
Search this place.
And then using our noble to procure some influence. Again, checking on the diplomacy, going to Knights of Calador. He's willing to do the defensive alliance.
That is beneath me.
For the bare minimum.
No one does
Cool.
that.
And just to make sure that this does go through, I'm going to just pay another 2 gifts. We're going to choose to upgrade Arugariel because it has a few unique construction options, and public order in Calador. Now this takes us to the part of the campaign where things can really start to diverge. When we view Imrik's balance of power, we need to see that we are above at least 1/3, preferably above halfway, but at minimum, if we've got over 100 relationship with him, you'll need to have at least 1/3 of his military strength. We could see that Calador's strength, while still above us, we need to be at least 1/3 of what theirs is to be able to be in a contention for confederations. Now, normally you can rely on Imrik quite reliably to get his ass kicked and have a relatively low balance of power, but in this campaign he's decided to do pretty damn well and establish 3 settlements. So the way we're going to overcome this is hire a cheap lord. I've chosen a princess which gives upkeep production to archers so we can keep this manageable. We're going to have her tag along to capture the shrine, to level up her recruitment discounts, and then we're going to declare war on Saffari and sack their first settlement. And make sure that we keep Tyrion in front, just because they are likely to retaliate and we need our strongest foot forward. And we're actually going to save our money and not spend anything else here, because we're going to need this money to raise troops next turn probably, because we're still quite far below what we'll need to confederate Imrik. Start of turn 9. Let's check that balance of power. It's the hot topic now. We could confederate. So we're going to go defensive alliance. Let's get $300 for it. Oh, Imrik, you are bold.
Observe my skill.
Good. Nagarond. Nagarond. I don't want to take money from him because he's probably not doing the best. As usual, fighting the battle on the field to mitigate any losses. Another victory with minimal losses. It's exactly what we want, because we want this balance of power to be the maximum as to where it could be. We're going to occupy this settlement, and we're going to keep Tyrion on the front foot. 1, because we want him to expand up here and eliminate Saffari, and then we're also going to want him to defend because there will be a definite counterattack. We're only using this princess for recruitment, so let's just crank her recruitment. So we need to inflate the balance of power as much as possible, so we're going to use Tyrion there. And we're also going to hire another Lord for the purposes of increasing our balance of power even further. Good. So yeah, we'll be hitting the red just a little bit this turn, but hopefully that gets us over the line because we're getting close, but we're still not quite close enough. Alright, turn 10, and
Well, what is it? Do not
yes,
squander
we've done it. We have enough,
device.
so thank God for that. 750 tends to be the amount that they seem most happy with, so 750. Welcome aboard, mate. There we have it, Imrik's part of the family now. Now this is the part here where the next ideal one to do would be Avalorn. I would just like to caveat that the run I've demonstrated with did not go right. We had some hardships, and that's kind of cool because I want this run to demonstrate what to do if things don't go perfectly. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, and please consider giving this video a like and subscribe because part 2 will probably be as long, but it will contain the next 20 moves, so it should move twice as quick. I hope this has been a great come one, come all guide, and hope it takes your campaigns to the next level and you have some fun. This is Elven Plot Armor. Cheers for watching.